It is time.
Have you ever seen Snarky Puppy live before, AC?
I have. Big fan of those guys. What they've done is great, what Michael Leake and all those guys have done as far as the risks they've taken and, chasing the dream. And they've put themselves in a place which is really cool to kind of merge kind of pop and also jazz and a bunch of other, I don't even like to call it world music, but bunch of different genres and cultures and kind of make it accessible. And I think that's definitely one of the trademarks of their band.
Where are they from again?
I think they're from Atlanta.
They originally, I think, were in Texas. They came up through Texas.
I believe it was Texas. I want to say Denton. There's a school down there with a great jazz program.
Gotcha.
I think that's how it started out. But again, like I've seen those guys on Jam Cruise. I've seen those guys on Long Island, CW Post. It's kind of like a hometown show for, really close to where I'm at. And they kill it. And it's great to see them in kind of educational settings as well.
Right.
But then also able to kill it and do that in Europe and across the world and in South America. It's much respect to those guys, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and every single member is just so prolific. It's hard to have 40 people rotate in and out of your band and have every single person just absolutely have their own legacy and their own voice on stage, Because sometimes you'll have a band with 9 people and maybe 3 or 4 of them stand out. But with Snarky Puppy, it's every single one of those people just absolutely nail it. So we're going to be listening to Snarky Puppy featuring Bernard White, who's a great funk and jazz keyboardist and singer who began his career as a session musician for artists like Dougie Fresh, Cameo, Pieces of a Dream, Marcus Miller, and Miles Davis. And so this is off of their new album that just came out September 30th, 2022. It's called Empire Central. We're here with AC from TAUK, and we're listening to Take It right here on Galaxy Jams Reacts.
Let's get it.
I love how they do this live studio sessions too, because that's probably the only way they can make it make sense. It sounds like Pac-Man.
Ooh. I like how they're all rocking with each other.
I like how the bass is so tasteful. It's mixed so well.
It really is.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Thanks.
That's so sick.
Yeah, it's really nice to have like all these keyboards layering and supporting.
Right.
And normally in a record, you would overdub those things. So when you have like an army
Right.
of an ensemble like this, right, gives the live feels. It makes it so much more
So full.
such a deeper feel. Yeah,
Yeah.
And Bernard's killing it.
Yeah.
He's absolutely killing it. They all are, of
Ridiculous.
course, you know. I mean, what, they got like 3 guitar players and they're layering it all out with just a sonic menagerie of sound.
I don't even think you could
Beautiful.
fit more people in that room.
They probably try, though.
It's fire
Right.
code.
Yeah, can we get some guy with a gong? Let's put him in there, too.
Yeah, and Alric, I like your point about how they're supporting each other because I feel like, essentially when you even have like 5 or 6 people in a band, it can quickly turn into like this huge cluster where it's like everyone's kind of like droning each other out, right? And I'm wondering like how they compose something like this. Do they just kind of have a like an idea and then they're like, okay, you take a solo and then you take a solo
you
and
go
then
here.
you take a solo and then that's it, right? How do you even like write something out like this to make it cohesive enough to like perform live and like put it in? This is like a studio cut that they just literally let it rip live. So it's just absolutely unbelievable the level of organization that they're able to put into their project.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
really
I mean,
great said.
Right. I mean, there's plenty of ways to approach it, and I think the challenge is just finding a way that is unique to the band, and then also the ensemble and the people who know how to help you say what you have to say musically or compositionally. It's like I'm sure this started out as an idea or a groove, and as you develop or you write together, certain things come up, or it could have been charted out
Right.
specifically, but what's cool about this, is that there's a composite sound, again, you have techniques of where you work in studio and you layer things to make it
Right.
sound fuller.
Right.
You think about, say, like a Nirvana album or like certain
Right.
songs. Those are just 3 guys. You know what I mean? And there's things to layer it to make sure that it sounds big, so you get that real raw effect.
Yeah.
But here you have people playing it and they're in the pocket. You know what I mean? Even listening to how Bernard moves around the space, it's not, his movement isn't crazy fast.
Right. It's tasteful.
He's in the
There's
in
breath,
it.
in this moment. You know what I mean? Because there's so much going on. There's the percussion, that's setting that's fitting in a space.
Right.
So and they just do that effortlessly. You know what I mean? So when you have that composite sound, that group element, it makes it easy to maneuver around the composition, and let someone like Bernard come in and speak.
Right. It's refined.
Yeah, thanks for that insight. What did you think, Anna?
I think it's really great. The way that, like you said, it's so full with all of the musicians there. It's so, like, it fits together like a puzzle piece.
Right.
It's beautiful. I love this so far.
Yeah, and one thing that I think about when I see a lot of people on stage like this is like, how does it work like personally? Because I think that Snarky Puppy won like 4 Grammys, right? And so when you have that many people who they're that successful and that talented, who's telling who that they need to do better, right? Who's like, hey, you didn't play that right. Like, you got to play it better. Like, or you missed that note, right? Like, who's the one that's gonna say that, you know? And how does it all work? Like, the dynamic, is it just like a core group of like 2 or 3 of them that's like writing it, and all the others just kind of like revolve around the nucleus of like the project, or does everyone get a say? You know, I'm wondering how that actually goes down. Not even just the songwriting process, but like actually when it comes to playing, because
like on stage.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because I know that like in a band, like
you can see somebody like having a visual
right.
conversation, like, okay, we're about to do in this, like, so something similar like that.
Yeah, and when you take music like hyper seriously, especially when you're doing it, you know, for your life, you're doing it like your life depends on it. And when you have like your partners, like you got to make sure that everyone's like right there and doing what they need to do. And as a band gets bigger, I'm wondering like how they keep each other in line, you know what I mean? Because I know like they're all human beings. Like someone has to have like some kind of like, oh, I didn't like that, or like whatever.
Right.
I was wondering how that goes down.
And
you
there's a couple, like a lot of session players too, so they kind of know how to take that kind of like back seat and let other people's like kind of speak, as you were saying, like.
Right.
I feel like they do that really well, and they like find that happy medium of like, okay, and go. There's your turn.
Yeah. AC, I know that TAUK has brought in a lot of different people into your peripheral. And so when you guys are playing with other bands, other musicians and outfits and things like that, do you find that it's like you guys are writing the music and telling them what to do, or do they bring like their own thing that like influences like entirely what you're doing, or is it a little bit of both? Can you give us some of your experience when it comes to working with other high profile personalities and musicians?
Yeah, I think it just comes down to communication, right?
Yeah.
And it depends on what the goal is, right? So, for example, for Make Your Move, we brought in Max from House of Waters, who plays a dulcimer, to layer that part, you know? So that was something a little bit more specific to what we,
right,
you know, for the song, and like a goal, you know. We've been working with Kanika Moore from Doom Flamingo, amazing vocalist. And when we first started sending songs out, like we had a bunch of ideas that we had already written on the TAUK side, and we also sent those to other people as well, as far as getting out there. But you give them, you know, you kind of give somewhat of a an outline of what you want to do, and then that kind of helps. But it's also, you have to maintain, like, you know, communication. You have to be open too, because it's a collaborative process. You know, I don't write lyrics,
right?
You know, I can write you a song, you know, but like for me, lyrics is something that you know, I've been working on doing more of, but like having someone who's practiced that for years, and that's their skill set.
I'm ready for the AC TAUK songs. Let's go.
I have a few.
Great, thank you.
But yeah, man, it's about just being open, you know, listening.
Yeah.
Great insight. Let's jump back in.
Let's do it.
And I love how they're so deliberate and like slow and like feeling it out and not in a rush.
Nasty.
Let's go.
Wait, how many drummers?
I think there's 7.
There's 3, I think, and then you got the percussionist too.
Ooh, that behind the back wind chime.
Yeah.
My gosh.
killer.
Whew.
I would just love to be able to be in that audience some point in my life.
Yeah.
How great would that be? I'll bring my own headphones, I promise. One thing I think,
such a great vibe, man.
Oh yeah,
for real.
You get friends, you get the fam around, and like it's just good energy. You know?
Oh,
and
yeah.
they just also are pro.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, and it's huge selection of who's going to be there. You know, all those people know how to play in the pocket. All those people know how to, like you were saying earlier, AC, like support what the other people who are soloing or whatever. They know not to just jump out and do it, and you know, it's really who they choose to be in there. And I'm sure every single one of those, you know, if they just walked up and were like, all right, you're doing the solo tonight, and they're like, all right, and then they just do a phenomenal job.
Yeah, it must take so much trust and respect to be able to give every single person like a lot of room to do their own thing and not like think that you have to like overcompensate, you know, because of someone else's, you know, playing. And for everyone to be like, okay, like they got it, like I'm always supported with whatever I'm doing. Yeah. So that means that I can like really take a step back, relax, and, you know, let things breathe and have air as opposed to just like playing all over the place to try and make up for, you know, whatever sound I'm trying to get.
Trust is definitely the key word. I mean, yeah, even for playing, you know, with, you know, musically and all that kind of stuff, but just as far as who do you want like on your team, you know, and that's what it comes to. You know, it comes to a common understanding, you know, of just like where you're at, and like then that will lead its way into the music, and you know, you can fully relax knowing that you put stuff out and that your musicians that are part of the team are going to do exactly what they need to do.
Yeah.
Well put. Hi, this is Mike with Galaxy Jams Reacts. We hope that you enjoyed that React video. Be sure to check out the links below of when we're going to be live streaming our next show and also how to watch full episodes. Please hit that subscribe button. Every single one helps.